I need to tell you something that's been burning inside me for months now, something I never thought would happen at my age, something that makes me question everything I believed about myself. At 62 years old, I betrayed my own daughter, and honestly, I still don't know if what I'm feeling is love, madness, or just the desperate grasp of a woman who thought her story had already ended. My name is Margaret. I live in a quiet suburb of Charlotte, North Carolina, and until 6 months ago, my life was exactly what you'd expect from a widow in her 60s. I spent my days tending my garden, volunteering at the local library, video calling my grandchildren, and having Sunday dinners with my daughter Rebecca and her family. My husband Thomas died 4 years ago after a long battle with cancer, and I thought that chapter of passion, of feeling butterflies in my stomach, of losing sleep thinking about someone, was permanently closed. I had made peace with that, or so I thought. Everything changed on a Tuesday afternoon in April. Rebecca showed up at my house earlier than usual, and she wasn't alone. She had this glow on her face, that shine that only appears when something really special is happening in someone's life. "Mom, I want you to meet someone very important," she said. And then he walked in. Daniel, 45 years old, recently divorced, father of 2 teenagers, with graying hair at the temples and eyes that seemed to see right through you. He was my daughter's new boyfriend, and from the first second our eyes met, I felt something I thought was dead inside me catch fire again. I know what you're thinking. I know how this sounds, but before you judge me, let me tell you that I fought this feeling with every fiber of my being. That first day, I was the perfect mother. I smiled, asked the right questions, served coffee and the lemon pie I'd made that morning. I hugged Rebecca and told her I was happy for her. And I was. I swear I was. But I was also terrified because when Daniel shook my hand saying, "It's a pleasure to meet you, Mrs. Parker," something electric ran through my body that I hadn't felt in decades. If you're listening to this story and can relate to what I'm feeling, or if you're curious to know how this all unfolds, please subscribe to the channel. Your support means the world to me, and it helps me continue sharing these real, raw stories that we all go through but are afraid to talk about. The weeks that followed were torture. Rebecca started bringing Daniel to every family gathering. Mother's Day, my birthday, a simple Saturday barbecue. There he was, always kind, always attentive, always making me feel things I had no right to feel. And the worst part? I started noticing little things. The way he looked at me when he thought no one was watching. How he always found an excuse to help me in the kitchen. The time our hands touched when we both reached for the same serving dish. And instead of pulling away immediately, he let his fingers linger on mine for a second too long. I tried to convince myself I was imagining things. That I was a lonely old woman projecting her desires onto a man who was simply being polite to his girlfriend's mother. But then came the night of Rebecca's work promotion party. It was at a restaurant downtown, and there were about 30 people there. At one point, I went out to the patio to get some air, and Daniel followed me. "Are you okay, Margaret?" he asked, and it was the first time he'd called me by my first name instead of Mrs. Parker. "You seem distant tonight." "I'm fine," I lied, but my voice trembled. He moved closer, so close I could smell his cologne mixed with something essentially him. "You're not fine," he whispered. "And neither am I. We need to talk about what's happening between us." My heart stopped. So I wasn't imagining it. "There's nothing happening between us," I said, but even to my own ears, it sounded unconvincing. "You're with my daughter. This conversation shouldn't even be happening." "You're right," he said, but he didn't move away. "But I can't stop thinking about you. From the first day I met you, Margaret, I've never felt this before. This connection. It's like I've known you forever." I should have walked away right then. I should have gone back inside, told Rebecca I wasn't feeling well, and gone home. But I didn't. Instead, I stood there, frozen, as Daniel touched my face with a tenderness that made my knees weak. "Please," I whispered, though I didn't know if I was begging him to stop or to continue. "Tell me you don't feel this too. And I'll never mention it again," he said, his eyes searching mine. I couldn't. I couldn't tell him that lie. And in that moment of weakness, of decades of loneliness and grief, and thinking I'd never matter to anyone in that way again, I closed the distance between us. It wasn't a kiss. Not yet. But our foreheads touched, our breaths mingled, and in that suspended moment, I crossed a line I knew I could never uncross. Before you keep listening, I want to ask you something. Have you ever felt this torn between what's right and what you desire with every cell in your body? If so, subscribe to this channel because these are the real stories we need to talk about. The complicated, messy truths of being human. Someone opened the patio door, and we sprang apart like guilty teenagers. It was Rebecca's coworker, oblivious to what had almost happened. We went back inside separately, and for the rest of the night, I avoided looking at Daniel. But the damage was done. That moment on the patio had opened Pandora's box, and there was no closing it again. What followed was 2 months of the most intense emotional torture I've ever experienced. Daniel started texting me. At first, they were innocent messages asking about recipes or gardening tips, things he could plausibly claim he needed to know. But gradually, they became more personal. He told me about his divorce, how his ex-wife had cheated on him with his former best friend, how he'd stopped believing he could trust anyone until he met our family, until he met me. "You make me feel safe," he wrote one night, "like I can finally breathe again." I knew I should block his number. I knew I should tell Rebecca everything. But I was selfish. After 4 years of widowhood, of feeling invisible, of watching my friends' grandchildren grow while mine lived 3 states away, of waking up every morning with no purpose except to get through another day, Daniel made me feel alive again. He made me feel like a woman, not just a mother or grandmother or widow. And God help me, I was addicted to that feeling. We started meeting in secret. Nothing physical at first, just coffee at a cafe 2 towns over where no one would recognize us. He told me about his dreams of opening his own architectural firm. I told him about the novel I'd been writing for 20 years, but never had the courage to finish. We talked about music, books, the meaning of life, second chances. He made me laugh in a way I hadn't laughed since Thomas was alive. "I know this is wrong," he said during one of our meetings, reaching across the table to take my hand. "I know the age difference. I know you're Rebecca's mother. I know every logical reason why this is impossible. But Margaret, I haven't felt this happy in years. You understand me in a way no one else does." "What are we doing, Daniel?" I asked, my voice breaking. "This can't go anywhere, even if Rebecca wasn't in the picture. You're 17 years younger than me. You have your whole life ahead of you. I'm an old woman who—" "Don't," he interrupted, his grip on my hand tightening. "Don't diminish what you are. You're brilliant, you're beautiful, you're fascinating. Age is just a number, Margaret. What we have is real." But was it real? Or was he going through a midlife crisis and I was convenient? Was I so starved for affection that I was willing to destroy my relationship with my only daughter for a fantasy? These questions tormented me every night when I lay awake in bed, Daniel's messages lighting up my phone in the darkness. If you're still with me, please consider subscribing. These stories need to be told, and your support allows me to continue being vulnerable and honest about the complicated realities of love and desire at any age. Then came the night everything exploded. Rebecca called me crying. "Mom, I need to come over. Something's wrong with Daniel. He's been distant, distracted. I think he might be seeing someone else." My blood ran cold. "What makes you think that?" I managed to ask. "He's always on his phone, smiling at messages. He started going to the gym suddenly, buying new clothes. And when I try to talk to him about our future, about moving in together, he changes the subject. Mom, I love him. I was even thinking about. I bought a ring. I was going to propose. I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. My daughter was planning to propose to the man I'd been secretly meeting, the man whose texts made my heart race, the man I'd been fantasizing about in ways a mother should never fantasize about her daughter's boyfriend. "Honey, maybe you should talk to him honestly," I said, hating myself with every word. "Communication is important." "You're right," she sniffled. "Actually, can I come stay with you this weekend? Daniel said he has a work thing in Asheville, but I feel like he's lying. I need space to think." Daniel had told me about that same weekend. He'd said he was going to Asheville and asked if I wanted to meet him there. A whole weekend, just us, away from everyone who knew us. I'd said I'd think about it. But the truth was, I'd already mentally packed my bag 100 times. Of course you can stay with me, I told Rebecca, making my decision in that moment. I would go to Daniel, tell him this had to end, that we could never see each other again. It was the right thing to do. The only thing to do. But when that weekend came, when I drove those 2 hours to Asheville and saw Daniel waiting outside that mountain cabin he'd rented, looking at me like I was the answer to every question he'd ever had, my resolve crumbled. He pulled me into his arms, and for the first time in 4 years, I felt like I was home. He held me like I was precious, like I was young, like the years and the impossibility of our situation didn't matter. I've been counting the hours, he whispered against my hair. We spent that weekend talking, laughing, taking long walks through the mountain trails. And yes, there were moments of physical intimacy, moments I won't describe in detail, but that made me feel more alive, more seen, more cherished than I had in decades. It wasn't just physical. It was emotional, spiritual even. Daniel looked at me like I hung the moon, and I looked at him like he was my second chance at life. On Sunday morning, as we were packing to leave, he took both my hands and said, "I'm going to tell Rebecca, this week. I can't keep lying to her, and I can't keep hiding how I feel about you. I love you, Margaret. I know it's complicated and messy, but I want to try to build something real with you. I should have been happy. Isn't that what I wanted?" But instead, I felt sick. The reality of what telling Rebecca would mean hit me like a freight train. My daughter's heart would be shattered. My relationship with her, built over 33 years, would be destroyed. My grandchildren would grow up knowing their grandmother stole their mother's boyfriend. The family I'd spent my whole life building would implode. "I need more time," I told him, pulling my hands away. "How much more time, Margaret? We can't keep doing this. It's not fair to any of us, especially Rebecca. Just a little longer, please. I need to figure out how to tell her in a way that—" "There is no good way," he exploded, then immediately softened. I'm sorry, but there's no version of this where Rebecca isn't hurt. The longer we wait, the worse it gets." He was right, of course, but I was a coward. I went home, hugged my daughter when she came to pick up the things she'd left at my house, and said nothing. I watched her talk about how she and Daniel had made up, how they'd had a long conversation and everything was better now, how she was going to wait a few more months, but she was definitely going to propose, and I smiled and nodded and died a little inside. Are you still with me? If this story is resonating with you, or if you've ever been caught between impossible choices, please subscribe to the channel. Your engagement means everything and helps these real stories reach people who need to hear them. Daniel was furious with me. His texts became more urgent, more desperate. "We need to end this limbo. I can't keep pretending with Rebecca. It's killing me." But I kept stalling, kept making excuses, kept living in this impossible situation where I was stealing moments with the man I loved while watching my daughter plan a future with him. Then, 3 weeks ago, everything came crashing down in the worst possible way. Rebecca showed up at my house unexpectedly on a Wednesday afternoon. I was in the kitchen and my phone was on the counter. Daniel's text lit up the screen. "Last night was incredible. I can't stop thinking about you. I need to taste your lips again soon." I saw Rebecca's face the moment she read it. First confusion, then understanding, then a pain so profound it made her physically stagger backward. "Mom," she whispered, her voice small and broken. "Mom, tell me that's not what I think it is. Tell me Daniel isn't. Tell me you haven't." I couldn't speak. I just stood there, frozen, as her face contorted through every stage of grief and betrayal. "How long?" she asked, her voice getting louder. "How long have you been sleeping with my boyfriend? How long have you been lying to me?" "Rebecca, please, let me explain." "Explain what?" she screamed. "That my own mother has been having an affair with the man I love. The man I was going to propose to? Oh God, I told you about the ring. I told you I was going to propose, and you said nothing. You looked me in the eye and said nothing. I never meant for this to happen. I said, tears streaming down my face. I tried to stop it. I swear I tried. But you didn't stop it, did you? You're 62 years old, Mom. You're supposed to be the wise one, the mature one, the one who knows better. And instead, you. With a man closer to my age than yours. With my boyfriend. She was sobbing now. Harsh, broken sobs that ripped my heart apart. I thought Dad was the love of your life. I thought after he died you'd... But this? This is how you honor his memory? By destroying your own daughter's happiness. That cut deeper than anything else. Because she was right. Thomas would be ashamed of me. The man who loved me faithfully for 38 years, who worked 2 jobs to put Rebecca through college, who held my hand through every up and down, who told me with his last breath to be happy, would be devastated by what I'd become. Get out, Rebecca said, her voice eerily calm now. Get out of my life. I never want to see you again. You're not my mother anymore. My mother died the day she decided to betray me like this. Rebecca, please, you're my daughter. I love you. Don't you dare say you love me, she screamed. If you loved me, you never would have done this. If you loved me, you would have told Daniel to stay away from you. If you loved me, you would have protected me instead of destroying me. She left, and I haven't spoken to her since. She's blocked my number, blocked me on all social media. I tried to go to her house, but she threatened to call the police. My son-in-law won't talk to me. I haven't seen my grandchildren in 3 weeks, and they keep asking their mother why Grandma doesn't come to see them anymore. Daniel broke up with Rebecca the next day. He told her he was sorry, that he never meant to hurt her, that what happened between us was real, and he couldn't keep lying about it. She threw his things out of her apartment and hasn't spoken to him either. He calls me every day, tells me we can get through this together, that eventually Rebecca will understand, that we deserve to be happy. But here's the thing I'm realizing. I'm not happy. I thought Daniel was my second chance at love, at life, at feeling young and desired again. But what's the point of any of it if it costs me my daughter? If it costs me my grandchildren? If it costs me my integrity and self-respect? Make sure you're subscribed to this channel because I need to know. Am I a monster for what I did? Or am I just a human who made a terrible mistake while searching for something I thought I'd lost forever? Daniel came over yesterday. He told me he's applied for jobs in Seattle, that he wants us to start fresh somewhere new, away from all the pain and judgment. We can build a new life together, Margaret. Just us. No hiding, no shame, no complications. Don't you want that? And the terrifying truth is, part of me does want that. Part of me wants to run away with this man who makes me feel alive, who sees me as a woman and not just a mother or widow. Part of me thinks maybe Rebecca will forgive me in time, that maybe love justifies the pain I've caused. But another part of me, the part that's been lying awake every night haunted by the image of my daughter's shattered face, knows that some betrayals can never be forgiven. Some lines, once crossed, can never be uncrossed. Some prices are too high to pay, even for love. My sister hasn't spoken to me since she found out. My brother called me selfish and narcissistic. My friends from book club have dropped me one by one, choosing Rebecca's side, which is exactly what they should do. She's the victim in all of this, not me. She's the one whose trust was violated in the most fundamental way possible. But here's what keeps me up at night. Was it worth it? Those stolen moments with Daniel, those afternoons where I felt young again, desired again, seen again, were they worth losing my daughter? And if the answer is no, which I think it is, then what do I do now? Do I cut off Daniel completely and spend the rest of my life trying to earn back Rebecca's forgiveness, knowing she may never give it? Do I choose the man who claims to love me, building a new life on the ashes of my old one? Or is there some third option I'm not seeing, some way to make this right that doesn't exist? Rebecca wrote me one letter. It came in the mail last week. She said she's in therapy trying to process the betrayal. She said she doesn't know if she'll ever be able to look at me again without feeling sick. She said the worst part isn't even that I fell for Daniel. It's that I lied to her face repeatedly, looked her in the eye while she talked about proposing to him and said nothing. You had so many chances to tell me the truth, Mom, she wrote. So many chances to choose me, and every single time you chose him instead. The letter ended with, "Maybe one day I'll be able to forgive you. But that day isn't today, and it might not be for years." The mother I knew, the mother I trusted, the mother I thought would protect me from the world, is gone. I'm grieving her like I grieved Dad, and I don't know if that grief will ever end. So now I'm here, at 62 years old, having to make the most important choice of my life. Do I choose Daniel, this second chance at passion and romance, knowing it cost me my daughter and might cost me my grandchildren forever? Do I end things with him and dedicate the rest of my life to trying to repair the unrepairable? Or do I accept that some mistakes are so catastrophic that there's no coming back from them, that I'll have to live the rest of my years with this crushing guilt regardless of what I choose? If you've made it this far in my story, please subscribe to this channel and share your thoughts. Have you ever made a choice that you can't take back? Have you ever had to decide between your own happiness and the people you love? I need to hear from others who've faced impossible situations, because I genuinely don't know what to do. Daniel is coming over tonight. He wants my answer about Seattle. He says he'll support whatever I decide, but I can hear in his voice that he's hoping I'll choose him, choose us, choose this late-in-life love story over the wreckage we've left behind. And I still don't know what I'm going to tell him. Because how do you choose between the man who makes you feel alive and the daughter who gave you a reason to live? How do you weigh your own happiness against someone else's pain, especially when that someone is your own child? How do you live with yourself knowing that your moment of weakness, your selfish desire, your refusal to do the right thing, destroyed the person you love most in the world? I look at photos of Rebecca as a little girl, the daughter I held in my arms and promised to always protect, and I don't recognize the woman I've become. I don't know how I went from that young mother who would have died for her child to this woman who essentially chose a man over her daughter's well-being. But I also can't deny what I feel for Daniel. It's not just lust or loneliness. It's a genuine connection, a sense of being understood and valued that I haven't felt since Thomas died. Is it fair that I'm supposed to sacrifice that just because of bad timing and complicated circumstances? Don't I deserve happiness too, even at my age? Even if that happiness came in the most inappropriate package possible? Before you go, I really need you to engage with this. Subscribe to the channel, comment below, and tell me, what would you do in my place? If you were me, would you choose your daughter or the man you've fallen for? Is there any version of this where I'm not the villain? Can love born from betrayal ever become something beautiful, or is it poisoned from the start? I need to know. Am I a terrible person, or am I just human? Is 62 too old for the kind of passionate, all-consuming love that makes you lose your mind? Or am I allowed to feel these things even though society says I should be content to just fade into grandmotherhood quietly? Should I sacrifice my chance at happiness to try to repair my relationship with Rebecca, even though she's made it clear she may never forgive me? The clock is ticking. Daniel will be here in 3 hours. And I still have absolutely no idea what I'm going to say. Part of me wants to pack that bag, get in his car, and drive toward that new life in Seattle where no one knows our story, and we can just be two people in love. Part of me wants to tell him goodbye, block his number, and spend however many years I have left trying to prove to Rebecca that she matters more to me than my own desires. And a small, broken part of me wonders if it even matters what I choose now. If maybe the damage is so complete, so irreversible, that there's no right answer anymore, that I've already lost everything that truly matters, and all I can do now is try to survive the consequences of my actions. So I'm asking you, really asking you, what would you do in my place? What should I tell Daniel tonight? Is there any path forward that doesn't end in more pain and regret? Should I chase this love that's cost me everything, or let it go in hopes of someday, somehow, earning back even a fraction of my daughter's trust? Please subscribe to this channel and comment below with your honest opinion. I need perspective. I need wisdom. I need to know if anyone else has ever been in this impossible situation and found a way through it. Because right now, I feel like I'm drowning, and I don't know which direction is up anymore. What would you do?